Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1. Guys, let me just preface this video by saying I am actually very happy that Manchester United got a win. I am, because it's just so bizarre. Because you look at Crystal Palace, I'm sorry, Everton on Monday. They're fighting one another, and United can't pull off a win. But you look at Crystal Palace, a very good team, a team that's sitting at fourth, a team that's in Europe, doing okay in Europe, will definitely progress far. They have an elite manager in Oliver Glasner, really good players kind of scattered throughout the pitch. At home, you think to yourself, this could be 3-1. That was probably my honest prediction heading towards Crystal Palace. But today, they just weren't up to it. And I think this thing about Manchester United is within usually the first 5 minutes, you can tell how they're going to play. Against Everton on Monday, you could tell it was going to be sloppy, and you could just tell Everton was on the front foot. Today, against Palace, it felt like both teams were just measuring each other up. Both teams were playing so okay. There weren't really many chances created on either side. The ball was just kind of rotating between team to team. No team could get any momentum. The Crystal Palace fans, that environment felt just a little bit drowsy, if I can say. The Manchester United fans seemed really up to it, and just both teams were playing at a gear 1 or gear 2. And so when Crystal Palace gets their eventual penalty, I think around the 30th minute, in my opinion, I'm thinking to myself, that's probably a game. Because you look at Manchester United's front line, guys, oh my days. Sure, I get it. Matheus Cunha has a head injury. Benjamin Sesko, a hamstring injury. But yet we're playing the pressing machine and Mason Mount and Brian Mbeumo, who over the past couple games has been completely off it, and you have Ahmad backing him up. And then you're playing Joshua Zirkzee up as the number 9. If there's one thing we know about Joshua Zirkzee, he's not a number 9. And listen, I understand Manchester United have injuries. Of course they do. So does every other team. I like Mason Mount. I think he's a good player. He ended up getting a goal today, the game-winning goal. But guys, the best thing you hear from the managers is that he is a worker, a presser, all this stuff. If you are a number 10, that's probably third or fourth on the list of what you want to be. You want to be a chance creator. You want to create chances. That's pretty much about it. If you do that as a number 10, you're pretty good. Look at Bruno Fernandes. When the first thing I hear about Mason Mount again and again and again, whether it's from Eric Ten Hag when they first bought him, Ruben Amorim since, he's a worker, and he does a good job. He does a good job of cutting off passing lanes. He does a good job of pressing defenders and stuff like that. And I'm sure overall on the game, it does have a positive effect. But with this team that's laboring to create reliable scoring opportunities, you do not need a pressing number 10. And I look at Joshua Zirkzee. I like Zirkzee a lot, but he performs his best with his back to goal. So just like that, you have two players that are not reliable in front of goal. You look over towards the right, at the right number 10, Ryan Mbeumo. In comparison to how he started the season, Mbeumo's been pretty poor over these past, I'll say 3 games. And to be fair, he has a higher bar set for him than the rest of the Manchester United players. But, even with that, he just hasn't been living up to any standards, to his standards. Ahmad behind him has been doing the exact same thing. That right side has been kind of laboring for United over the past 2 or 3 games, I would say. So, just like that, your 3 attackers all are not in good form / are not even natural goal scorers in the first place. Why aren't you playing Bruno Fernandes? What is Bruno doing? And I actually think Bruno had a very good game, but it wasn't necessarily because of where he was placed. It was more because of the effort he showed. Because above all, Bruno Fernandes won Manchester United this game because he was calm when he needed to be, and he showed just that extra ounce of effort towards the end, which you get when you're only playing 1 game a week. And anyway, so Palace get the penalty. They go up 1-0. In my mind, like I said, I'm thinking, this is done. Because you have a Manchester United front 3 that aren't creating good goal-scoring chances. And another one of my points here, probably the biggest point of this video I want you guys to get. You're still not seeing consistent outlets for Manchester United. Over the past couple of years, it's been Bruno Fernandes. And I'm not even necessarily talking about players who are consistently scoring. I'm talking about just consistent ways of scoring. When you look at a number of teams in the Premier League, pretty much most all of them, you know how they're going to play. You know how they're going to set up. Teams in the bottom half, it's typically a more park the bus setup. Teams like Manchester City, Arsenal, they like to dominate possession. With Manchester United, you do not know what you're going to get. You do not know the way in which you will score, if you will score. Um, all you'll know is that you'll field 11 players. And that's what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. How can you go from Everton, a 10-man Everton, to Crystal Palace, who have a really good home record, a really good team in general, and you're able to scrape out one win, but you lose to Everton, you know? And I think if Manchester United had a more consistent way of creating chances, so much pressure would have been taken off Ruben Amorim. And I think the number one thing everyone is trying to say towards Amorim is that if you give us a reason to believe, we will believe. Everyone likes his charisma. Everyone likes the way he acts, the way he, moves, whatever it is. Everyone likes it. But when he's on the pitch and we can't create enough goal scoring opportunities and we're losing to Everton and these types of things, and then we're immediately going and beating Crystal Palace, the inconsistency, it's always in the attack under Amorim. It's always been in the attack. I actually think defensively today, United played really, really well. I think Luke Shaw debatably deserves man of the match. He made 2 really, really good tackles, just did a great job of kind of clearing the last ball. I think he had a very good game. But with this team, it's so much based off the individualism. Like I mentioned, it's Brian Mbumo, and if he's not in goal scoring form, well, best of luck to you, because you're playing a presser and a number 10 at your number 9. Meanwhile, your actual best number 10 is playing as a number 6, and so when Palace go up 1-0, it's over in my mind. It really is. The rest of the first half kind of plays out. No one's really getting a foot on the ball. I even think Palace, they're not playing particularly great. I think Adam Morton had a good game. I think Mateta is struggling to get in form. I think Jeremy Pino is struggling to get into the game. A number of Palace players are laboring, and so is Manchester United. And at halftime, I'm pretty upset because I'm thinking to myself, this is it. Manchester United are terrible in the second half. They just lost this game 1-0. And maybe this is the final straw for Ruben Amorim. But in the second half, I'll give the team credit. They stayed resilient. That doesn't mean they played well, because they really didn't, guys. But they continued to feed off the fact that Palace are off of 48 hours of rest. And they did a good job taking advantage of it. They created 2 set-piece goals, both brilliant by Bruno Fernandes. The first, a ball cut across onto Joshua Zirkzee, who scored a ridiculous goal. The second, obviously towards the end, Mason Mount takes that quick free kick off the pass from Bruno Fernandes. Dean Henderson's not ready. I don't care. Manchester United go up 2-1 and kind of just hold firm for the rest of the game. But how many times throughout the season are you going to have that shot from Joshua Zirkzee? How many more times are you going to have a Crystal Palace defense that's not set, or an opposing defense that's not set? Guys, this is stuff that doesn't happen super often. And the consistent goal-scoring threats, no matter who's out there, they just haven't been present. It's so much more based on the players rather than the system. And that's where my biggest problem lies. Because I actually think United, like I said today, were defensively super firm. I think Casemiro had a very good game. Bruno Fernandes, in my opinion, it's either him or Luke Shaw for man of the match. But you move up to that 4-3, and the way they play, it doesn't matter if you're playing Mbappe or if you're playing Joshua Zirkzee. You know what I'm saying? It's really not about the players. It's really not about the players. It's about the lack of ability to find consistency. And that's what scares me about Manchester United. And that's why United go on and they beat Palace, but they lose to Everton. And, we'll go 5 unbeaten, and then we'll lose to a team that's fighting one another. And it's been like that kind of throughout the whole entire season. They pick up a result against Chelsea, then they go and they lose against Brentford. They play, quote-unquote, well in a loss against Arsenal, and then they thoroughly get destroyed by Fulham and scrape a 1-1 game. It's the same thing, guys. And we're, 12 games, 13 games into the season? Ruben Amorim's a year into his tenure, and we're still struggling to find consistency. Really on either side of the ball, both attacking and defending, but especially attacking, and especially right now. But listen, I'm not going to be one who complains about taking 3 points. I'll take it. We move. I don't know who United played next, but this was a massive game. I remember a couple days ago I was telling you all United had the 10th, or the easiest game, the easiest stretch of the next 10 games is what I meant to say. You just got probably debatably the hardest test marked right off. You have 3 points through 2 games. I said the bar needs to be 20. You're somewhat back on track. Can you keep up? Can you get that consistency? No, I'm gonna be honest with you all. I hate to burst anyone's bubble. We probably won't over what the first 53 games under Ruben Amorim has showed me, but it's points on the board, and I'll never complain about that. But I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you all soon. God bless.